The chair now recognizes Mr. Soto for 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Deputy Director Shirley, thanks for being here. I have the honor of representing Central Florida. We're home to the Northern Everglades region, including the Kissimmee Chain of Lakes. There's a study by law that'll be due by the end of this year about making the Kissimmee River a wild and scenic river. I realize you just got on the job, so I'm asking if you could provide our office with all that U.S. Fish and Wildlife is doing to help the Department of Interior finish that study on time this year. The snail kite is one of our endangered species that's in that region, so you would probably be dealing with issues related to that. So will you commit to getting us all the information that you all are working on to keep this study going on time?
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks. You know, this is about clean water for our region, which we're now the 20th largest metro area in the nation. For recreation, you know, fishing's very popular in Central Florida, and we'll get to a little more of that in a second, as well as Everglades restoration. The protection of this river is critical as we see both the last administration and this current administration putting in hundreds of millions of dollars to help with the Southern Everglades. So this is absolutely a critical part of it. We saw also recently a federal judge on April 11th put out an order about the protection of manatees and the Indian River Lagoon, specifically to prevent new septic tanks. As you may know, there was a unusual mortality event that happened a few years ago, and we worked in a bipartisan fashion with our state partners to have feedings happening, and the population's been a little more stabilized. But now we're in a July 17th moratorium, just happened this last week, banning any new septic tanks because of the nitrogen issue that's stifling the restoration that both federal and state officials are working on. And so the court order calls for a conservation plan that the state has to present and an incidental take permit that U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is supposed to work on related to that order. I know, again, you said you're new on the job, but do you have any knowledge as to the status of that conservation plan or the incidental taking permit and the court order that's in place right now?
Yeah, thank you. I don't have any in-house knowledge there. I'm happy to follow up and make sure that we provide whatever information we have and get you a status update.
So you'll provide us with any information you've gotten about a submission of a conservation plan by Florida and then whatever response that U.S. Fish and Wildlife is working on?
Sure.
Thank you. You know, we're all committed to protecting the Florida manatee. We've seen it continue to be a bipartisan issue. And so you'll commit here today that U.S. Fish and Wildlife plans to follow the court order as presented, even though you may appeal on issues like that?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the specific circumstance, but we'll follow the law and make sure we get done what we're supposed to do.
And I can't stress that while the manatee is a big part of this, this is about way more than just the manatee for our area. Recreational fishing is a way of life for us, as is commercial fishing. Tourism is our top industry. People come to places like Central Florida and over to the coasts of Central Florida to enjoy these amazing fishing grounds. And we have a lot of impairment in our waters that is something that I know we've worked on both with state officials and federal officials on. And so even as you may hear about some of these species like manatees and snail kites, just always remember this Endangered Species Act and the Mammal Protection Act and some of these others, they help bring the resources to our community to do a whole lot of other things like protecting clean water, like protecting recreational fishing, like making sure that tourism, our top industry, is protected. So I know you all have Zion Park in Utah back when you were in the state. So you get that tourism and conservation can be an important part of commercial activities in the state, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And I did my post-legislative session vacation a couple years ago to the Everglades in your state to decompress and look at birds and enjoy what Florida has to offer. I do understand that. Thank you.
Well, then you know firsthand, Mr. Director, and I look forward to getting those submissions, and thanks for being responsive to my questions.
Thank you.